Good afternoon and welcome. Let's start with our top story in the latest twist to the growing political crisis in Malaysia. The largest party in Malaysia's ruling coalition declared its support for Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, providing some respite for the Premier who has faced calls for resignation in recent weeks. Now, the United Malays National Organisation Party, which had earlier this month threatened to withdraw support for Muhyiddin, said that it will now back him as the time has come for national reconciliation of political parties. Meanwhile, the country's former Premier and now ruling party leader, Najib Razak, sought support from the coalition lawmakers on Monday to back a prime ministerial bid by the opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim. Najib's support for Anwar could further deepen the political turmoil in the country. Anwar was one of the key leaders in a coalition that defeated Najib in a historic election in 2018. Najib has since been convicted of corruption and sentenced to 12 years in prison. He is currently out on bail and has publicly announced his backing for the opposition leader. In a month of political crisis, Anwar has claimed to have won a majority support from MPs, including from the rival parties. He also met with the king to stake his claim. On Sunday, Malaysia's King, Sultan Abdullah, rejected a request by Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin for him to declare a state of emergency to contain the virus outbreak in the country. Now, earlier, the Malaysian Prime Minister had proposed to suspend Parliament to curb the recent spike in COVID-19 infections, but this was instantly met with a massive backlash. Now, critics are accusing Muhyiddin of demanding a state of emergency in the shadow of mounting challenges to his leadership. The suspension of Parliament would have helped Muhyiddin to stay in power and to push through any law without a vote. Muhyiddin seized power without a vote in March after a reformist government collapsed. But his administration proved to be unstable with only a two-seat majority in Parliament. Now, we are being joined by the assistant news editor of Malay Mail, Zurari, live from Putrajaya in Malaysia. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. Now, the largest party in Malaysia's ruling coalition has declared its support for Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. What is the latest that you have for us?
Hi. I think the latest was there was a meeting by that party, UMNO, last night, declaring a support after previously saying that they may retract support from Muhyiddin's party. And right now, it seems business as usual, and we're just waiting for Parliament to start sitting again later this month.
Right. Now, the country's former Premier, Najib Razak, has backed the Prime Minister bid of the opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim. Now, what consequences will this lead to?
Here's the thing about Najib's proposal. It was actually just one of the three proposals that he has given to his party, UMNO, on what to do next. And I think behind this suggestion is a way to divide the already united opposition party, because in the Pakatan Harapan, which is the opposition pact, there are three parties, PKR, DAP, and Amanah. Well, Anwar Ibrahim's PKR seems to be open to working with anyone, but DAP currently does not want anything to do at all with UMNO and furthermore Najib. So what you'll do here is split these two parties apart. And even Najib himself has said that if PKR were to work with UMNO, DAP must not be in picture. Now, realistically, this cannot happen. They just do not have the numbers to form a government.
Right. Now, earlier, the Malaysian Prime Minister had proposed to suspend Parliament, and he said that this was to curb the spike in COVID-19 infections. Also, there was a rejected request for declaring a state of emergency to the King. This was also rejected. Take us through the significance of this.
Well, as has been suggested by deputy ministers and some ministers inside Muhyiddin cabinet, the move to push for this emergency powers is essentially so that the parliament would not need to convene. What this means is that because Muhyiddin would have to table the budget next, and there is a possibility that no confidence motions against him may be tabled by opposition. Indeed, we have even seen some rumblings of a no confidence vote from his allies as well. So this may be one of the reasons why his cabinet is seeking for an emergency to curtail the powers of parliament to sit.
Right, Zero, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us for all the latest coming out of Malaysia.